Lily sat in her wheelchair by the living room window, watching the rain outside. The drops made tiny rivers down the glass, reminding her of tears. At 42, she had learned to live with her illness. The doctors had told her 3 years ago that her body was attacking itself. Multiple sclerosis, they called it. She had adjusted to this new life, this new body that sometimes wouldn't listen to her brain's commands. What she hadn't expected was that her husband would stop listening too. Tom had changed over the past few months. The man who once rushed home to help her with dinner now came back long after the food had gone cold. The husband who used to spend weekends watching movies with her now claimed the office needed him on Saturdays and Sundays. The lover who once couldn't keep his hands off her now flinched when she reached for him. The house felt empty even when they were both in it. Silence had replaced their easy conversations. Distance had replaced their closeness. Lily wasn't blind. She had seen the signs, noticed the late-night text messages that made Tom smile in ways she couldn't anymore. "We need to talk," Tom said that evening, standing in the doorway of their bedroom. He looked tired, his suit wrinkled from a long day at the financial firm where he worked. But there was something else in his eyes, relief maybe, like a man about to put down a heavy load. Lily wheeled herself away from the window. "Yes, I think we do." "This isn't working anymore," he said, not sitting down, not moving closer. "We've grown apart. 15 years of marriage, and he delivered its end like a business report. 2 days after they had quietly celebrated their anniversary with a cake that he barely touched. "Is there someone else?" she asked, though she already knew. She had seen the lipstick smudge on his collar last month, had noticed the new cologne he suddenly started wearing, had spotted the unfamiliar long blonde hair on his jacket. Tom looked at the floor, then at the wall, anywhere but at her eyes. "That's not the point. It is to me. Fine, yes, I've met someone. But that's not why I want a divorce. We've been unhappy for a long time, Lily. We? Or just you?" She kept her voice steady, though inside something was breaking apart. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be," he said. "I'll be fair in the settlement. You can keep the house. I just need freedom. Freedom." As if she were his jailer and not his wife. As if her wheelchair had somehow imprisoned him too. "How long?" she asked. "Does it matter?" "It matters to me," he sighed. 6 months, 6 months. While she was learning to live with her new limitations, he was learning to love someone new. While she was fighting to stay positive despite her illness, he was planning his escape. "Her name is Diana," Tom added, as if that information was a gift. "She works at the investment bank downtown." Lily nodded slowly. "Diana." Now the ghost had a name. "When will you leave?" "I thought maybe next weekend. I need time to pack my things. A week." He was giving her a week to adjust to the end of their marriage. "How generous. I'll sleep in the guest room tonight," he said, already turning to leave. "Tom," she called after him. He paused but didn't turn around. "Was any of it real? These last 15 years? His shoulders dropped slightly. "Of course it was. But people changed, Lily. You changed." "I changed." After he left, Lily sat alone in their bedroom, soon to be just her bedroom. The walls still held their wedding photos. Her smiling face looking up at him with such hope, such certainty. She had been a runner then, a hiker, a dancer. She had been whole. That night, sleep wouldn't come. Around 3 a.m, Lily wheeled herself to Tom's home office. She wasn't proud of what she was about to do, but she needed answers that Tom wouldn't give. Before her illness, she had been an accountant who specialized in finding financial fraud. She knew how to look for hidden truths. Tom's laptop sat on his desk. He had always been careless with his passwords, using their anniversary date for everything. How ironic that the date he couldn't remember to celebrate would now help her uncover his secrets. The computer opened to his email without resistance. Lily hesitated only a moment before typing Diana into the search bar. Dozens of messages appeared going back 8 months, not 6 as Tom had claimed. She clicked on the oldest one. "Dinner was lovely. Your wife is a lucky woman," Diana had written. They had met while Tom was taking a client to dinner. Lily remembered that night. She had called him twice, worried when he was 3 hours late. He had claimed the client was needy. The meeting had run long. All the while he had been falling for someone else across a candle-lit table. The emails grew more intimate over time. Plans made, secrets shared, complaints about Lily and her constant needs. Tom had painted himself as a martyr, caring for his disabled wife while sacrificing his own happiness. Lily closed the laptop, feeling sick. She wheeled herself back to their bedroom and stared at the ceiling until morning came. The next day, Tom acted as if nothing had changed. He ate breakfast, reading his phone, kissed her cheek out of habit before leaving for work. Lily waited until his car pulled away before beginning her search. She found the receipt in his sock drawer, a jewelry store purchase from 3 weeks ago. An engagement ring. He had bought another woman a ring before even telling Lily he wanted out of their marriage. That wasn't all she found. In his closet behind his winter coats was a small suitcase already half-packed. Toiletries, casual clothes, his favorite watch. He had been planning this for weeks, maybe months. Each night when he kissed her goodbye, each morning when he asked if she needed anything before he left. All of it had been a performance, buying time until his escape was ready. Lily didn't cry. Not then. Instead, she put everything back exactly as she found it and wheeled herself to her computer. If Tom thought she would simply fade away like a convenient ghost, he was wrong. Before her body betrayed her, Lily had been known for her sharp mind and attention to detail. Those skills hadn't disappeared with her ability to walk. She typed Diana and the name of the investment bank into a search engine. Several results appeared, including a company profile with a photo. The woman was stunning, tall, blonde, with the kind of confidence that came from a lifetime of people saying yes. According to her profile, she had degrees from top schools and had worked at prestigious firms in London before moving here. Lily saved the photo and began a deeper search. She might not be able to stop Tom from leaving, but she could at least understand who he was leaving for. Something didn't feel right about Diana's too-perfect story. By evening, when Tom came home, Lily had composed herself. She made small talk over dinner, asked about his day as if it were any other night in their 15 years together. If Tom noticed anything strange in her behavior, he didn't mention it. "I'll be out tomorrow night," he said as he loaded the dishwasher. "Work dinner?" Lily nodded. "With Diana?" Tom froze, a plate in his hand. "What?" "It's okay," Lily said, her voice surprisingly calm. "I know about her. I've known for a while." The plate clattered onto the counter. "You went through my things. Does it matter how I know? You're leaving me for her in a few days anyway." Tom's face hardened. "This is exactly why our marriage failed. You don't respect boundaries." Lily almost laughed at the absurdity. He was lecturing her about boundaries while planning to marry another woman. "Will you invite me to the wedding?" she asked. "Don't be ridiculous. I'm just curious how long you'll wait. The divorce papers aren't even filed yet, but you've already bought her a ring." Tom's eyes widened slightly. He hadn't expected her to know that detail. "You had no right to go through my things," he repeated, but the anger in his voice had been replaced by something else. Shame, perhaps, or fear at being caught in his lies. "I'm not going to fight you on the divorce," Lily said, "but I deserve the truth. All of it." Tom ran a hand through his hair, suddenly looking older than his 45 years. "The truth is, I fell out of love with you. I fell in love with her. It happens every day to normal couples. It has nothing to do with your condition." But they both knew that was another lie. Everything had changed when Lily got sick. When she needed him most, Tom had started looking for the exit. That night, after Tom had retreated to the guest room, Lily made a decision. She wouldn't beg him to stay. She wouldn't play the victim. Instead, she would learn everything she could about the woman who had stolen her husband. Because something in Diana's perfect story didn't add up, and Lily had always been good at solving puzzles. Tomorrow, she would begin her search in earnest. Not to win Tom back, that ship had sailed, but to understand exactly what she had lost him to, and perhaps to protect him if her suspicions proved correct. Morning light filtered through the curtains as Lily opened her laptop. Tom had already left for work, giving her the quiet she needed. Before her illness forced her to retire, Lily had worked as a forensic accountant. She had spent 15 years following money trails and uncovering financial lies. Those skills hadn't disappeared just because her legs no longer worked. She pulled up Diana's professional profile again. According to her bio, Diana Reed had graduated from Oxford with honors, worked at 3 prestigious London banks, and moved to the States 2 years ago to pursue new opportunities. Her credentials were impressive. Too impressive, perhaps. Lily's first step was simple verification. She contacted Oxford's alumni office, claiming to be from a hiring committee. The response came within hours. They had no record of any Diana Reed graduating in the last 20 years. Strike one. Next, Lily found Diana's social media accounts. The woman lived a glamorous life. Cocktail parties, charity galas, vacations in exotic locations. In one photo, Diana stood before the Eiffel Tower in an elegant red dress. "Missing Paris already," read the caption from 6 months ago. Lily downloaded the image and checked its metadata. The photo had been taken 3 years ago, not 6 months, and when she ran a reverse image search, she found the exact same picture on a stock photo website. Strike two. "Who are you, really?" Lily whispered to the smiling face on her screen. She dug deeper. Diana claimed to have worked at Barclays in London. So Lily reached out to an old college friend who now worked there. "Never heard of her," her friend replied after checking internal records. "And we don't have any record of someone with that name working here in the past decade." Strike three. That evening, when Tom came home, Lily kept her discoveries to herself. He moved around the kitchen like a stranger, preparing a sandwich without offering to make her one. "How was your day?" she asked, keeping her voice casual. "Fine. Busy." He didn't ask about hers. "I was thinking," Lily said carefully, "maybe we should talk about the divorce settlement. Make sure everything's clear before you leave." Tom looked relieved. He had expected tears, not practicality. "Sure, I told you, you can keep the house. I'll continue paying the mortgage until it's paid off. That's generous. What about your retirement accounts?" "We'll split those." "Half and half," Lily nodded. "And your current investments?" "The ones you manage personally." Tom frowned slightly. "Those stay with me. They're in my name only." "Of course," Lily said. "Have you discussed any of this with Diana?" His eyes narrowed. "Why would I? Just curious how involved she is in your financial planning." "She isn't. And I'd prefer if you didn't mention her name again." Lily smiled. "Sorry, just trying to understand the full picture." After Tom went to bed, Lily called her former colleague, Peter. Before her illness, they had worked together on dozens of fraud cases. If anyone could help her dig deeper, it was him. "I need a favor," she said when he answered. "Lily, it's been ages."
"How are you holding up?"
"I've been better. Tom's leaving me." A pause. "I'm sorry to hear that. For another woman. A woman I think might be hiding something." Peter didn't hesitate. "Tell me everything." The next morning, after Tom left for work, Peter arrived at Lily's house. Despite her protests, he had brought breakfast, fresh bagels and coffee. "You look good, Lily," he said, his kind eyes taking in her appearance. "Liar," she replied with a small smile. "But thanks for saying it." They spread their materials across the dining table. Printouts of Diana's social media, her work history, the photos Lily had questioned. Peter examined everything with a professional eye. "You're right about the inconsistencies," he said finally. "Too many holes in her background. Can you help me find out who she really is?" Peter nodded. "I still have contacts in the fraud department. Let me make some calls." While Peter worked his connections, Lily continued her own investigation. She found Diana's address through public records and discovered she had only lived there for 8 months. Before that, the trail went cold, but Lily was persistent. She searched variations of Diana's name, Diana Reed, D. Reed, and found something interesting. A Diana Reed had been involved in a civil lawsuit in Arizona 3 years ago. The case was sealed, but the plaintiff was a man named Harold Wilson, age 67. When Peter returned the next day, his expression told Lily he had found something significant. "You might want to sit down for this," he said, though she was already in her wheelchair. Lily managed a dry laugh. "I'm good. Just tell me." Peter opened his laptop. "Diana Reed is an alias. Her real name is Danielle Russo. She's been on the FBI's radar for years, but they've never been able to build a solid case against her." He showed Lily a series of photos, all of the same woman, but with different hair colors, different styles. In each, she looked slightly different, yet unmistakably the same person who had stolen Tom's heart. "She's run this con at least 3 times that we know of." Peter continued. "She targets wealthy, successful men, usually those in vulnerable positions. Men going through midlife crises, men with 6 spouses, recently widowed men." Lily felt sick. What's her game? She becomes whatever they need. The exciting girlfriend, the supportive partner. She gains their trust, then their access to their finances. Once she's legally connected to their money, she cleans them out and disappears. How much has she taken? Over $2 million from her last target, a retired surgeon in Florida whose wife had Alzheimer's. Before that, nearly $1 million from a widowed business owner in Arizona. The Arizona connection. That explained the lawsuit Lily had found. Did any of them get their money back? Peter shook his head. By the time they realized what happened, the money was gone. Transferred through so many offshore accounts, it was impossible to trace. Lily closed her eyes. Tom wasn't just leaving her, he was walking into a trap. I have to warn him, she said. Will he believe you? Peter asked gently. Lily thought about how Tom had looked at her lately, with pity, with guilt, with growing resentment. Would he trust her now, when he was so desperate to believe in his new beginning with Diana? Probably not, but I have to try. That night, Lily waited up for Tom. He came home late, smelling of perfume that wasn't hers. We need to talk, she said. Tom sighed. It's late, Lily. It's important, please. He reluctantly sat on the edge of the sofa, as far from her wheelchair as possible. I've learned some things about Diana, Lily began. Tom's face hardened. Stop, just stop. I know what you're doing. You don't. Please, just listen. No, you listen, he interrupted. Diana warned me you might do something like this. She said it happens all the time. The rejected wife tries to sabotage the new relationship. Lily stared at him. She said that? She's seen it before. She told me to expect you to make up stories, dig up fake dirt. It's textbook behavior from someone who can't let go. Of course Diana had prepared him. She was good at her game. Tom, I'm not making anything up. She's not who she claims to be. Her name isn't even Diana Reed. Enough. Tom stood up. I didn't want to do this, but I'm moving out tomorrow, not next weekend. I can't take this anymore. Please, just look at what I've found. I don't need to see your so-called evidence. I know Diana, I love her. And she loves me, not my money, not what I can do for her. She loves me for me. The pain in Lily's chest had nothing to do with her illness. And I didn't? Tom at least had the decency to look ashamed. That was different. We grew apart. No, Lily said quietly. You walked away when things got hard. Tom didn't respond. He simply turned and went upstairs, presumably to pack the rest of his things. Lily sat alone in the dimming light of their living room. She had failed to convince him. Diana's hold was too strong, her manipulation too complete. Tom was walking willingly into her web, and there was nothing Lily could do to stop him, or was there? She wheeled herself to her laptop and opened her email. She might not be able to save her marriage, but perhaps she could save Tom from losing everything. She began typing a message to her old boss at the Financial Crimes Unit. I need your help, she wrote. I have reason to believe that a known con artist is operating in our city. As she detailed everything she and Peter had discovered, a plan began forming in her mind. Diana might be good, but Lily knew something about following money too. If she couldn't convince Tom with words, perhaps she could show him the truth before it was too late. The divorce papers would be finalized next week. She had until then to build a case that even Tom couldn't ignore. True to his word, Tom moved out the next morning. Lily watched from the window as he loaded boxes into his car. 15 years of marriage packed away in less than 2 hours. He didn't look back as he drove away. The house felt both emptier and somehow larger without him. Lily wheeled through the rooms, noticing the gaps where Tom's things had been. The empty spaces on bookshelves, the bare spots on walls where his favorite photos once hung. In their bedroom, his closet door stood open, revealing only wire hangers swinging gently. She didn't allow herself to cry. Not yet. There would be time for grief later. Right now she needed to focus. Peter called around noon. How are you holding up? I'm fine, Lily said, though they both knew that wasn't true. Did you find anything new? Actually, yes. I spoke with a detective in Miami who investigated our friend Diana, or Danielle rather, 2 years ago. He's sending over his case files, and I've been looking into her current finances. And she's got expensive taste. Designer clothes, luxury car lease, high-end apartment, but her income doesn't match her spending. Where's the money coming from? That's the interesting part, Peter said. She receives regular wire transfers from an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. My guess is that's where she keeps her earnings. Lily thought about the men Diana had conned before. Do you think she's still bleeding her previous victims? Possibly. Or she's got other schemes running simultaneously. Can we trace the offshore account? Peter hesitated. It would take time and specialized resources. More than we have. What about the FBI? You said they've been watching her. They are, but they need solid evidence of criminal activity. Until she actually takes Tom's money, they can't move on her. Lily gripped the phone tighter. By then it will be too late. After hanging up, Lily stared at the divorce papers on her desk. The final hearing was scheduled for next Tuesday, just 5 days away. Once the divorce was finalized, Tom would be entirely on his own. She had to find a way to reach him before then. The doorbell rang, startling her. Lily wasn't expecting anyone. She wheeled to the door and looked through the peephole. Diana Reed stood on her porch. Lily's heart hammered in her chest. Should she pretend not to be home? No, this might be her only chance to confront the woman face to face. She took a deep breath and opened the door. Diana was even more striking in person, tall and elegant in an expensive-looking cream suit, her blonde hair falling in perfect waves around her shoulders. She smiled, but the expression didn't reach her eyes. "You must be Lily," she said. "I hope you don't mind me stopping by. I thought it was time we met properly." Lily kept her face neutral. "Please, come in." She backed her wheelchair away from the door, allowing Diana to enter. The woman glanced around the house with an assessing eye, as if mentally cataloging its value. "Can I offer you something to drink?" Lily asked, playing the polite hostess while her mind raced. "No, thank you. This won't take long." Diana perched on the edge of the sofa, her posture perfect. "I wanted to clear the air between us." "I wasn't aware there was air to clear." Diana's smile tightened. "Tom told me you've been investigating me, did he? He mentioned you had some concerns about my background." Lily met the woman's gaze directly. "Not concerns, facts." Something flashed in Diana's eyes, annoyance perhaps, or calculation. But her voice remained smooth. "I understand this is difficult for you. Divorce is never easy, especially in your situation." The way she emphasized the word made Lily's skin crawl, as if her disability somehow made the betrayal more expected, more justified. "My situation has nothing to do with why Tom is making a mistake," Lily said. "Your history of conning vulnerable men does." Diana didn't flinch. "That's quite an accusation." "It's not an accusation when I have proof, Danielle." This time Diana couldn't hide her reaction. A slight widening of the eyes, a momentary tension in her shoulders. Then remarkably she laughed. "Is that what this is about? You've confused me with someone else?" "I don't think so. Your face matches the photos from the Arizona case. And the Florida one. Different hair, different name, same person." Diana stood smoothing her skirt. "I came here hoping we could be civil." Clearly that was optimistic. "Did you use the same line on Harold Wilson's wife? Or James Montgomery's? Before you emptied their bank accounts and disappeared?" Diana's pleasant mask slipped, revealing something cold beneath. "Be careful, Lily. False accusations can have serious consequences. So can fraud." They stared at each other for a long moment. The pretense of politeness gone. "Tom won't believe you," Diana said finally. "I've made sure of that." "What did you tell him? That the bitter ex-wife would try to ruin his happiness? That I couldn't stand to see him move on? Something like that. Men are so predictable when they're in love. They see what they want to see." Lily felt a chill at the casual cruelty in Diana's voice. "You don't love him. Love is irrelevant. But he loves me, and that's what matters. How much are you planning to take him for? All of it, or will you leave him enough to survive on?" Diana moved toward the door. "This conversation is over. Stay out of my way, Lily. Your life is difficult enough already. Don't make it worse." "Is that a threat?" Diana smiled. "Consider it friendly advice. Accept the divorce. Take the settlement. Forget about Tom and me." After she left, Lily sat motionless for several minutes, her heart racing. Diana, or Danielle, was more dangerous than she had realized. The woman hadn't even bothered to deny the accusations, not really. She was that confident in her hold over Tom. Lily picked up her phone and called Peter. "She was just here." "Diana? At your house? What happened?" Lily recounted the conversation. "She basically admitted everything. Did you record it?" "No, I wasn't expecting her to show up." Peter swore softly. "Without proof, it's still just your word against hers." "I know, but now I'm sure she's planning to take everything from Tom. And she knows that I know. That makes you a threat to her." "Be careful, Lily." After they hung up, Lily checked that all the doors and windows were locked. Diana's friendly advice felt very much like a warning. But Lily had never been one to back down from a fight, even before her illness. She opened her laptop and created a new document, typing Diana Reed, Danielle Russo evidence at the top. She began compiling everything she and Peter had uncovered: the false Oxford degree, the fabricated work history, the stolen stock photos, the previous victims. If she couldn't convince Tom verbally, perhaps a complete dossier would open his eyes. Around midnight, her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Back off or things will get much worse for you." Lily stared at the message. Diana wasn't wasting any time. Rather than feeling frightened, Lily felt a surge of determination. She added the threatening text to her evidence file. The next morning she called Tom. He didn't answer. She tried again an hour later. Still nothing. Finally she sent a text, "We need to talk. It's important, please." No response. Lily contemplated driving to his office. But getting in and out of the car with her wheelchair was a lengthy process, and there was no guarantee Tom would see her once she arrived. Instead, she called his assistant, Grace. They had always been friendly, and Grace had been sympathetic about Lily's illness. "I need to get a folder to Tom," Lily explained. "It's about our divorce settlement." "Very important." "Of course," Grace said. "I can make sure he gets it. Thank you." "And Grace? Could you make sure he opens it when he's alone? Some of the financial details are sensitive." Later that afternoon, Lily handed the sealed envelope to a courier. Inside was everything she had gathered about Diana's true identity and history. She had included contact information for Diana's previous victims, police reports, and copies of the civil lawsuits. Tom might not want to hear the truth from Lily, but perhaps he would read it. As the courier drove away, Lily's phone rang. It was Peter. "I found something big," he said without preamble. "Diana has started the paperwork to be added to Tom's investment accounts as a joint holder." Lily's blood ran cold. "How did you find that out?" "I still have friends at the bank. The request came through yesterday. Once she's added, she'll have equal access to everything: his retirement funds, his stock portfolio, all of it." "How long does the process take?" "Usually about a week. But she's pushing for expedited approval. A week, right after the divorce would be finalized." Diana was moving faster than Lily had anticipated. "We need to stop her," Lily said. "I'm working on it. But without Tom's cooperation, our options are limited." After they hung up, Lily wheeled herself to the window and looked out at the street where she and Tom had built their life together. She thought about the man she had married. Kind, intelligent, sometimes stubborn, but fundamentally decent. He didn't deserve what Diana was planning, no matter how badly he had hurt Lily. Her phone buzzed with a text. "Tom, finally, I got your package. We need to talk. Meet me at Carlton Cafe tomorrow." 10 a.m., Lily closed her eyes in relief. Maybe, just maybe, he was starting to see the truth. Carlton Cafe sat on a corner downtown, its large windows allowing plenty of natural light. Lily arrived 15 minutes early, wanting to get settled before Tom arrived. The cafe had a small ramp at the side entrance, and the staff knew her from the days when she and Tom used to have Sunday brunch there. "The usual table, Mrs. Chen?" asked Mia, the longtime waitress who had watched Lily's transition from walking to wheelchair over the past few years. "Yes, please." "I'm meeting Tom." Mia's smile faltered slightly. Everyone knew about their separation. News traveled fast in small communities. "Of course. Can I get you some tea while you wait?" Lily nodded, grateful for the normalcy of the interaction. She positioned her wheelchair at the table near the window, placing her folder of additional evidence beside her. Her hands trembled slightly as she arranged everything, and she took a deep breath to steady herself. This might be her last chance to reach Tom. At exactly 10 a.m., Tom walked through the door. He looked tired, the kind of bone-deep exhaustion that came from emotional turmoil rather than lack of sleep. He spotted Lily and walked over, his movements stiff. "Thank you for coming," Lily said as he sat down across from her. Tom didn't respond immediately. He stared out the window for a moment, then looked at her directly. "How did you find all this?" "I used to investigate financial fraud for a living, Tom. I know how to follow a paper trail. Some of this stuff..." He shook his head. "It's hard to believe, I know, but it's all verifiable. The police reports are real. The lawsuits are real. The victims are real." Tom ran a hand through his hair. "I spoke with Harold Wilson this morning. Lily hadn't expected that. You called him? His number was in your file. He told me everything. How she, Danielle, Diana, whatever her name is, convinced him to add her to his accounts. How she transferred everything out the day after they got married. How he lost his home trying to recover. And you believe him? Tom's laugh was hollow. Why would he lie? He's a stranger with nothing to gain by making up stories about a woman he hasn't seen in years. Mia appeared with Lily's tea and took Tom's coffee order. When she left, the heavy silence returned. She's trying to get added to your investment accounts, Lily said finally. Tom's head snapped up. How do you know that? Peter found out. He still has contacts at your bank. Peter from your old firm. He's helping you with this? Lily nodded. He cares about me, about what happens to both of us. Tom looked away, guilt flickering across his face. He had been the one who stopped caring, who found comfort in Diana's arms while Lily fought her illness alone. I confronted her, he said quietly. Last night after I read your file. She denied everything, said you were making it all up out of jealousy. And then I asked her about Oxford. Told her I'd called the alumni office myself and they had no record of her. She said they must have lost her files. That record-keeping in England is different. But you didn't believe her. Tom shook his head slowly. She got angry. Started talking about how I was choosing you over her. How I must still be in love with you. Then she stormed out. Relief washed over Lily. He was seeing the truth at last. What are you going to do? She asked. I don't know. Tom looked lost. The divorce hearing is in 3 days. She's already talking about getting married right after. That soon? She says, why wait? Now I understand why. His voice hardened. She wants access to my money before I figure out what she's really after. Lily reached across the table, stopping just short of touching his hand. You can stop this, Tom. Cancel the divorce proceedings. Or at least postpone them while you sort things out. He didn't pull away from her near touch, but he didn't reach for her either. It's not that simple. I made promises to her. We signed a lease together on a new apartment. Those are just things, Tom, papers, they can be undone. And what about us? Can that be undone too? The question hung between them. Lily didn't know how to answer. Too much had happened, too many hurtful words exchanged. I don't know, she said honestly. But right now that's not what matters. What matters is protecting you from Diana. Tom nodded, the decision forming in his eyes. I'll call my lawyer today. Ask him to delay the hearing. As they finished their drinks, the conversation shifted to practical matters. The bank accounts Diana might target, the investments most at risk. They were just preparing to leave when Lily glanced toward the door and froze. Diana stood just inside the entrance, her eyes locked on their table. The expression on her face made Lily's blood run cold. Tom, Lily said softly, nodding toward the door. He turned and saw Diana. The color drained from his face. I didn't tell her I was meeting you. Diana walked toward them, her heels clicking sharply against the floor. She wore a fitted red dress that drew every eye in the cafe, her smile tight and dangerous. Well, isn't this cozy? She said, her voice carrying just enough to make nearby diners glance over. Secret meetings with the ex? Diana, Tom stood. This isn't what it looks like, really. Because it looks like you're having coffee with your soon-to-be ex-wife after promising me you were done with her. Diana turned her gaze to Lily. I thought I made myself clear yesterday. Crystal clear, Lily replied. That's why Tom needed to know exactly who he's dealing with. Diana laughed, the sound brittle. And who am I, according to you? A con artist, a thief. A woman who's stolen from at least 3 other men using the same playbook you're using with Tom. People were openly staring now. Diana leaned down, her voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. You've made a serious mistake. The mistake was yours, Tom said, finding his voice. Coming after me when Lily was smart enough to see through you. Diana straightened, her composure slipping for just a moment. Then she smiled again, this time directly at Tom. Darling, she's manipulating you. Can't you see that? She can't stand that you've moved on, found happiness with someone else. Stop, Tom said. Just stop. I know the truth. I spoke to Harold Wilson this morning. At the mention of that name, Diana's smile vanished completely. You had no right to contact my past. Your past victims, you mean. Diana's hand moved so fast neither of them saw it coming. The slap landed hard against Tom's cheek, the sound like a firecracker in the quiet cafe. We're done, she hissed. You'll regret this. Both of you." As she stormed out, the cafe erupted in whispers. Tom sank back into his chair, touching his reddened cheek. "I'm sorry," Lily said. "I never meant to cause a scene." "You didn't." "She did." Tom looked stunned. "I never thought she could be so different from the woman I thought I knew. That's how con artists work. They show you what you want to see." They left the cafe together, Tom insisting on helping Lily navigate her wheelchair down the small ramp. Outside, he hesitated. "I should go check on our apartment. Make sure she doesn't take anything or damage something in anger." "Be careful," Lily warned. "She might still be dangerous." "I will." "And Lily, thank you for caring enough to do all this, even after how I treated you." As Tom walked away, Lily felt a strange mix of emotions. Relief that he finally knew the truth. Sadness for what they had lost. Worry about what Diana might do next. That afternoon, Peter called with news. "Diana's flight to the Cayman Islands leaves tomorrow morning." "She's running?" "Looks that way. She must have realized the game is up." But something didn't feel right to Lily. Diana hadn't seemed like a woman ready to give up when she confronted them at the cafe. She had seemed angry, yes, but also calculating, as if already planning her next move. "Can we alert the authorities? Have her stopped at the airport?" "On what grounds?" Peter asked. "She hasn't actually stolen from Tom yet. And the evidence from her previous cons isn't enough for an arrest without the victims pressing charges, which they haven't." Lily frowned. "So she just gets away? Moves on to her next target?" "Not if we can help it. I'm still working on convincing Harold Wilson to formally press charges." After hanging up, Lily sat in her quiet house thinking. Diana's flight was scheduled for 9 a.m. The divorce hearing was set for Tuesday at 10 a.m. Even with Diana gone, the divorce could still proceed if neither Tom nor Lily filed to stop it. She picked up her phone to call Tom but hesitated. What exactly would she say? That they should try again? That they should work on their marriage? The truth was, Tom had walked away when things got difficult. He had chosen someone else over her. The fact that his choice had been manipulating him didn't change the fact that he had made it. Her phone buzzed with a text from Tom. "Diana cleaned out our apartment, took everything valuable. Called the police, but not much they can do since her name is on the lease too." A second text followed. "Can we talk tomorrow? There's something important I need to ask you." Lily stared at the message, wondering what Tom could possibly want to ask. Would he suggest reconciliation out of guilt? Or was it something else entirely? She typed back, "Of course. Come by whenever you're ready." As she set her phone down, Lily realized tomorrow was Monday, the day before their scheduled divorce. Whatever Tom wanted to discuss, it would happen just hours before they were set to legally end their marriage forever. Monday morning arrived with a gentle rain that tapped against Lily's windows. She had slept poorly, her mind racing with questions about what Tom wanted to discuss. Would he ask to postpone the divorce? Cancel it entirely? Or did he just want her blessing to move on with his life, now free from Diana's deception? She was in the kitchen making tea when the doorbell rang. Tom stood on the porch, hair damp from the rain, looking like he hadn't slept either. "Come in," she said, backing her wheelchair to make room. He followed her to the kitchen where she poured him a cup of tea. They sat in silence for a moment, the familiar routine both comforting and painful, a reminder of thousands of mornings shared and now lost. "I spoke with my lawyer," Tom said finally, "about the divorce hearing tomorrow." Lily nodded, waiting. "I asked if we could postpone it." "And?" "He said we can, but we'd need to file paperwork today. Both of us would need to sign." Lily stirred her tea, watching the small whirlpool form in the cup. "Is that what you want? To postpone?" Tom looked up, his eyes meeting hers directly for what felt like the first time in months. "I don't know what I want anymore. Everything I thought I knew has fallen apart. Diana. Not just her. Everything. Our marriage. My future. What I thought I needed." He ran a hand through his damp hair. "I was so sure I needed to escape to start over. Now I'm not sure of anything." "Tom," Lily said gently, "you can't stay with me just because Diana turned out to be a con artist. That's not why I'm here." He took a deep breath. "I'm here because I made a terrible mistake. Even before I knew about Diana's past, I was starting to realize that. The way she talked about you, about your illness, it didn't sit right with me." "What do you mean?" "She kept saying how burdensome you must be. how no man should be expected to care for an invalid wife. Tom's voice cracked, and I let her talk that way because it made me feel better about leaving. But you were never a burden, Lily. Never. Lily felt tears threatening but held them back. Then why did you leave? Because I was scared. And selfish. When you got sick, I couldn't handle it. Not because of the work of caring for you. That was never the issue. It was seeing you in pain, watching you struggle, knowing there was nothing I could do to fix it. I felt helpless, and I hate feeling helpless. So you found someone who made you feel powerful again. Tom nodded, shame evident in his face. Diana made me feel needed in a way that was easy, uncomplicated, but it wasn't real. They sat in silence, the rain growing heavier outside. What are you asking me, Tom? Lily finally said. I don't know if I have the right to ask anything of you. He looked down at his hands. But I'd like to postpone the divorce. Not to rush back into our marriage, we both need time to think. But to give ourselves space to figure out if there's anything worth saving. Before Lily could respond, her phone rang. It was Peter. Lily, are you sitting down? He asked when she answered. I'm always sitting down, she replied dryly. What's happening? Diana didn't get on her flight this morning. And there's more. Her real identity has been confirmed. She's not Danielle Russo. Her real name is Deborah Castillo. She's wanted in connection with fraud cases in 3 states. Lily glanced at Tom, who was watching her intently. Have the police found her? Not yet. But they're looking. She's burned through all her known identities now, so she'll have a harder time disappearing. After hanging up, Lily explained the call to Tom. So she's on the run, he said. Looks that way. But the authorities are involved now. It's just a matter of time. Tom nodded, then returned to their previous conversation. About tomorrow. I need time to think, Tom. This is all happening so fast. I understand. But we need to decide about the hearing. Lily wheeled herself to the window, looking out at the rain-soaked garden they had planted together years ago. Part of her wanted to punish Tom, to go through with the divorce and let him face the consequences of his choices. But another part, the part that still remembered the good years, the love they had shared, wanted to at least consider the possibility of forgiveness. I'll sign the postponement, she said finally, but I'm not promising anything beyond that. Relief washed over Tom's face. Thank you. They spent the afternoon completing the paperwork and delivering it to Tom's lawyer. By evening it was official. Their divorce hearing was postponed for 30 days. A month to decide the future of their 15-year marriage. Where will you stay tonight? Lily asked as Tom prepared to leave. A hotel, I guess. I can't go back to the apartment Diana and I shared. Lily hesitated, then said, The guest room is made up. You can stay here if you want. That night, with Tom sleeping down the hall, Lily lay awake thinking about the strange turn her life had taken. A week ago, she had been a soon-to-be divorced woman watching her husband prepare to marry another woman. Now she was, what? Not reconciled, not divorced, but somewhere in between. Her phone buzzed with a text from Peter. Just heard from police. Deborah tried to access Tom's investment accounts this afternoon. She had fake ID. Bank security stopped her. She's in custody. Lily stared at the message, feeling a weight lift from her shoulders. At least that chapter was closing. The next morning, what would have been their divorce day, dawned clear and bright. Lily found Tom in the kitchen making breakfast, just as he had done countless mornings during their marriage. I got a call from the police, he said, as he set a plate of eggs in front of her. Diana's been arrested. They found evidence linking her to fraud cases going back 5 years. She won't be getting out anytime soon. Peter texted me last night. She tried to get to your money even after being exposed. Tom shook his head. I was such a fool. We both were in different ways. They ate in companionable silence. After breakfast, Tom helped Lily into the garden, pushing her wheelchair along the stone path they had built together when she was first diagnosed. Do you remember what you said when we put in this path? Tom asked. Lily looked up at him. That even if I couldn't walk the garden anymore, I'd still be able to enjoy it. You were so brave. Are so brave. While I was falling apart, you were finding ways to move forward. They stopped beside the small pond where koi fish swam lazily beneath lily pads. I've been thinking about what you said yesterday, Lily said. About being scared of feeling helpless. Tom nodded. I understand that feeling. When I was first diagnosed, I was terrified. Not just of the physical changes, but of becoming dependent on others. On you. You never complained. I complained plenty, Lily said with a small smile. Just not to you. I didn't want to be a burden. And I was afraid of failing you. Tom looked out across the garden, so instead of trying and risking failure, I ran away. Guaranteed failure. A breeze rustled the leaves above them. In the distance, a lawnmower hummed. Where do we go from here? Lily asked. I don't know, but I'd like to find out. Tom knelt beside her wheelchair, taking her hand. Not rushing, not making promises we can't keep, just seeing if there's still something worth fighting for. Lily looked at their joined hands, his tanned and strong, hers paler but equally determined. I can't pretend the last few months didn't happen, she said. You left when things got hard, I know. I'll have to earn back your trust. And I can't promise that my illness won't get worse. There may be days when I need more help, not less. I understand that now. I want to be there for those days if you'll let me. Lily thought about all they had been through, the good years before her diagnosis, the struggles after, the pain of his betrayal, and now this tentative new beginning. We'll take it one day at a time, she said finally. Starting today, later that afternoon, as they sat in the living room discussing practical matters, Tom would stay in the guest room for now. They would try marriage counseling. They would be honest about their fears and needs. Lily's phone rang again. It was Peter with one final update. The police found Diana's storage unit. You won't believe what was inside. Financial records, fake IDs, and cash. Lots of cash. They think she's stolen over $3 million from at least 5 different men. Will her victims get their money back? Lily asked. Some of it, probably. The police are contacting everyone now. After hanging up, she relayed the news to Tom. I could have lost everything, he said quietly. But you didn't. As evening fell, they ordered takeout from their favorite Chinese restaurant, another old tradition cautiously revisited. While they ate, Tom asked about Lily's investigation, wanting to understand how she had unraveled Diana's deception. You always were the smartest person I knew, he said with admiration. Smart enough to know we have a long road ahead of us, Lily replied. No guarantees, Tom agreed. Just possibilities. And for now, that was enough, not a fairy tale reconciliation, but an honest new beginning. The future remained uncertain, but for the first time in years, they would face it together, eyes open to both the challenges and the hopes that lay ahead. The divorce day that never happened became instead the first day of their second chance. Not a fresh start, they carried too much history for that, but a wiser continuation of a journey that had taken an unexpected detour and now found its way back to a familiar, if altered, path.